This is Battletech Oath of Endosteel. This is between season 3 and 4. This is the season 4 GM prep. Probably there will be several major changes to the show going forward from here on out. I'm gonna throw a lot at you guys all at once, so I'd like you to make notes as we go. I'm also going to, when I'm done, copy and paste what most of what I have overall. Like, there's some stuff in my head that maybe I haven't written down yet, but for the most part, I'm gonna send what I have on Discord, which doesn't mean don't pay attention, but if you miss something, probably I will have some place for you to catch up on it. That
You sound like one of my professors, AP.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Look, if I sound, what do they call it, pedagogy? You know,
pedagogical?
Yeah, if I'm helping you learn what we're doing through my semi-obfuscation and equivocation, then I've done my job of conveying what I want. So let's talk about some more or less ironclad things. I think moving ahead to the year 3045 is going to let many of the child characters get old enough that it would be reasonable to play them as mid to late teenagers. Some of your characters may even be old enough to be young adults. 3045 is a really interesting time. So I think that the way that we play this game is going to, at a strategic level, is going to vastly change from here on out. Whittington will not be involved in any wars for a extremely long, like way outside how long I could conceivably see this game going.
You should have started us in some random world called Tukian.
I started you on a random world called Whittington, and I put Whittington on the fucking map. And now occasionally people ask the creators of the maps, where's fucking Whittington? Because it's not on half the maps.
That's actually awesome.
I put us on the maps. I put us on the map, okay?
Also, to be fair, I don't think when we originally started this game, very many of us expected that we'd be playing, what, 3 years later, 2 years later?
That's a long time.
Yeah, I didn't know we were doing 1-to-1 iron time in the game.
Yeah, right.
That's pretty wild.
Here's the way strategically I see this game shaping out from here on out. Technology has advanced. We are now at the floppy disk Walkman level of technology. There is a limited military communications network. It is not the internet. It's barely ARPANET or DARPANET. It was ARPANET first before it was DARPANET. No, it was still called ARPA back then.
Yeah.
Before it was called the Defense DARPA.
Sure.
So like,
it's funded by them though.
You can send Battletech schematics and telemetry data wirelessly to satellites back to a command center now, rather than having to hand carry files or just be like, my war book has a reading of like a WVM6M, and you're like, okay, I've got your read. You say there's a WVM6M back there. All right, I'm pulling that up on my files right now. Okay, I've got the folder. I'm pulling it up. Let me see what's inside. Okay, this is what they've got. You know, like, now you can just wirelessly be like, oh, look, you got that data. Well, I have that data now, too. Virtual reality is a thing. Again, mech simulators have advanced to being pretty close to being in a real mech. It's no longer embarrassing. The Federated Suns is on the verge of becoming the Federated Commonwealth. As a result, things like parties, money, mercantilism have started being pushed much bigger through society. The lyric side of things is becoming a bleed over. The biggest entertainment complex is actually the royal family. It's the Steiner Davians. It's the insane brilliance of Hans Steiner. It's his son in 3045. He's still going to college and will be graduating shortly and be made a major in a pretty significant military command. The coordinator's son of the Draconis Combine is a little bit older. He's already received a military posting. basically the heirs to both of these realms, it's expected that they'll be inheriting their fathers' and grandfathers' wars. There are more Steiner Davians who are involved. There's one who is significantly involved in the politics of the Draconis March. So I think probably we're going to hear from Arthur Steiner Davian, since he becomes a bit of a cheerleader for them. Yvonne Steiner Davian is being raised as like a regent. She's the second oldest child, etc., etc. So like following their lives is a really big deal. It's like the #1 sport in all of the Inner Sphere, just shortly behind the actual #1 real sport, Battlemech fighting on Solaris. Speaking of which, Solaris has really upped its technology level. Fights are now way more significant. There are some crazy stables out there. There will be a war. It will be a genocidal war against a more technically advanced foe, and the Inner Sphere will more or less unite against them. As a result, strategically, I see you being offered the opportunity to send family members, mercenaries, material, money, research away. You will send these people away. You may not hear from them again. Your contributions will be noted. You may be rewarded for your contributions, or you may be asked for more. Because if you could give once, maybe you could give again. So
wait, we're not.
I'm sure I'll have to declare this again, AP, but I already know for sure. The Morgan Griffins fucked off like immediately after she realized like how far like Lachlan has fallen.
We'll talk.
Okay.
I have some thoughts about that.
But she seems like the type that would definitely be like, all right, fuck this. I'm just going to go be a mercenary.
Yeah, I mean, her brother goes insane. So let's talk about what happens on Whittington so far. Lachlan McDougal and Duchess Harmony Lake essentially enter into... She has a quick burst of political power from being made Duchess, in the same way that they say the president has the first 100 days of office, and then after that, Lachlan has the bureaucracy, and she tries to root everybody out of it. That it doesn't work that well, and so for about the last half decade, she's tried to consolidate power, he has blocked her, and therefore almost nothing has happened. Lachlan is the most technically powerful noble on the planet. He has a large collection of mechs. He has control over the extremely wealthy space station that is pretty much the only reason to visit Whittington at this point, is for its fusion battery jump station.
Primary beer.
Those are quickly, then it's not, that's not a reason to visit. I mean, it's great to get while you're here, but it's only popular on Solaris 7 for some extremely weird reason. It's getting really popular there, you know. They import it from the literal other side of the Inner Sphere in vast quantities. It's now overtaken exotic Darkwoods as the only, and pangolins as the #1 export. You all, I don't think the audience knows this. The three of you have indicated to me that you want to play Lachlan McDougal's 3 successor houses to some extent. So as a result, there will probably be something of a mini game where you have to choose whether you want to represent yourself as loyal to the Duchess, who is rising into her own power now, and your technical liege lord, or Lachlan. Because if you want to inherit some of Lachlan's wealth, his space station, only one of you can get that space station, and there's 3 of you, all right? There's a lot of mechs on the line, and all 3 of you know there is a secret bunker of nuclear weapons somewhere, and whichever one of the 3 of you can get a majority share. I mean, there are 28 nuclear weapons. You get 1, you're now a major power. You get all of them, your brothers and sisters, your cousins, they mean nothing to you because you're now the new Lachlan.
Just weighing in, and you can tell me how much or how little, because 5 years things can change. But my understanding is that when I don't know that Eddie and Eric have decided on who they wanted to play, but my understanding was that when we left things, Athena was going to be Lachlan's presumptive heir. Lachlan was had already given
Things have changed
Celeste
as they've grown older. I don't want to presume anything before we go into this.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Makes no sense.
There's been enough time that things can happen. They were preteens or younger when we last saw them.
That's fair.
If you guys want to have a new dynamic with each other, with your father, with the Duchess, I want to give you some space to set all of those.
Okay. Well, what I want to play Celeste, and I want to be on the Duchess's side.
That's good because
Lachlan.
you Celeste House Reincolt is directly answerable to House Lake.
Yeah, so
it would be insane for you to do otherwise.
I've been wanting Lachlan to be the villain that I handed over for me to fight with for a while. I don't think that's any kind of secret that I've been angling for that. So yeah, I want to be fighting against Lachlan.
Number 2 most powerful nobles on the planet, Tamari Hiroka, forced into a very bad position. On Lachlan's bad side, on the Duchess's bad side, pretty wealthy. Good exterior trade contacts, absolutely no contacts throughout the Federated Sons. Her deals that have been revealed with the Outworlds Alliance have put her in a somewhat precarious position. Her dead husband's, military sacrifice fighting a bad man and dying in the process granted her some shield, but what she needed was someone with significant military power to protect her, which is why in 3041 she settled for Yusuf. Yusuf, as we know, because Eric told us, was sitting on a huge pile of XP and already had a mercenary lance.
Wow.
He used that to up himself to a full company of Battlemechs with a support battalion of other vehicles. They have, in the last 6 years, become the family of traditional values. It's a little Midwest. It's a little Southern. Most people on the planet don't go there anymore. It's not really a tourism place. It's a little, in the family. It's a little religious.
I love that so much for Yusuf.
The farming has become automated and autonomous. It's put people out of work. The local wealth of the Hirokan lands, like the wealth of the people, has dropped. Their education level has dropped over, the last generation of Tamari and Jasper's plans for the region. So while the Hirokans enjoy great personal wealth and status, their people are becoming increasingly insular, decreasingly educated in a time where education is more thought of. But through Tamari's media manipulations, they love her because they're the area of traditional family values. And the rest of the planet just doesn't get it with their new technology and their love for the Draconis Combine and peace and shit. Hiroka will stand on its own because that's how the Heartlands works. So you get kind of an idea of what I'm saying about how the Heartlands have gone.
Yeah, this new season of Yellowstone is crazy.
Okay, so the Duchess. I already went kind of over this. The Duchess has supreme executive authority, but originally had no loyal government employees. So while she could appoint people to lead departments and new houses to take over different parts of the government, Lachlan had established a massive, wide-sweeping government bureaucracy, which he repeatedly succeeded or drastically excelled in roles for. So her ability to break that down has taken until now. The planet has been mired in do-nothing, which, of course, from the Hirokans, they talk a lot about a do-nothing government. The rest of the planet just really wants to see some change. The controls are cracking. I don't have any parties or factions pre-made. I'm going to tell you about issues that are important. Some of you may feel like these are issues that your character or your house may want to pursue. You may want to form your own political party, which is why I'm not pre-forming any. You may have issues that I am not listing that you think should be important. After I have all of that, I'm going to start making political parties. Here are some of the issues. Protection for the Pangolins planet. The issue of the Khans secretly setting up a super logging camp on the second continent secretly that has since been revealed. it has turned into a massive port city that is also a company store.
I totally forgot about that.
Oh yeah, the illegal pangolin rubber tree situation. No, they're the hardwoods, right? They want the hardwoods.
Yeah, the hardwoods.
They want the hardwoods.
I love that. Yeah.
There is now a mercenary quarter that is immediately west of the capital city along the superhighway. So you remember that there was this highway that you had several battles along to the westernmost city where Yusuf's troops originally settled in. It's also the port, that western city is also the port with which you get to the Khan's camp. That highway is now a superhighway, and immediately outside the city is a mercenary district. The capital city, just to be clear, is a mercenary district. The highway has been reinforced to allow mechs to go on it on the ground level, and so the cars have to go over it. It incredibly pisses off the people there whose property values have all dropped. There is a immense cost to repeatedly paving for 100-ton Battlemechs that walk to the spaceport and back to get from the mercenary quarter to the spaceport.
I can imagine. That's insane. The damage.
Lachlan McDougall is currently attempting a hostile takeover of Jacobson Unlimited.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
This is amazing.
That issue has polarized the entire planet because people basically either work for a McDougall, work for a Hiroka, or work for Jacobson Unlimited. Those are basically your three choices on planet.
And as everyone knows about me, I'm all about consolidation. Consolidate, baby.
The word traditional values is being thrown around a lot. What does it mean? It means something different to everybody, but it's used a lot. The Duchess says that she's a traditional values person. Other people say she isn't. The Hirokans say that they're about traditional values. Other people say they're insular crazy hill folk. Three big issues are peace with the Combine, vigilance against a future attack by the Combine, and repeated unrepentant retribution strikes against the Combine. Notably, there's no longer any spoken issue of the nobles from Valentina attempting to take over the planet anymore. You've seen your previous actions in just killing their mother and setting fire to their family estate and fighting them on their own home planet seem to have driven them away. They have lost all power. They activated all their secret agents. They are greatly diminished. And you know what? I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say it. I said I wouldn't say it, but I'm just going to say it. Sebastian Bassett was the inside man for them. And with his death, they lost any ability to act here. Now, Bassett, his plan...
His kids are still alive, aren't they?
Yes, but they live in the Combine now. So here's what happened. Bassett was trying to kill his own father and family, and his people were posing as Seppukus and accidentally killed everybody at the party.
Yep.
At the initial event that kicked off the first season.
That makes sense.
So yeah,
real quick, AP. A question about the Combine issues. Is Genji still alive?
Genji is alive. He has basically withdrawn to. You'll remember that he was severely wounded and was basically told that piloting a battle mech in the future would be difficult. He has withdrawn into sort of an advisory general role, like as a consultant, and he's moved into corporate consultancy insofar as like people will come to his waterfall dojo for like $100,000 weekend. You know, we need to have a team building exercise, and there's a guru out there who could teach us what leadership and teamwork is, guys. You know what I mean? Like that's what he does now, is high profile private consultancies.
Totally makes sense. Similarly, is Audrey Lafayette still in charge of the militia?
She is dead.
She is dead.
She's dead.
How'd she die?
How did she die? She died in an air show accident. I don't have a new militia commander yet because one of you could conceivably take that option if you wanted to make a move on that. So the seat is currently open and is filled by like a junior lieutenant right now who's just treading water. So on planet, you'll need to balance your loyalty to Lachlan versus your loyalty to Harmony. You'll need to strategically choose whether you want to commit war forces to the Federated Suns / Federated Commonwealth or to the Draconis March that you live in. The Draconis March believes in eternal vigilance against the dragon. The dragon, once it lands, that it believes is its, and that only by attacking first will we ever really put the dragon down.
Right.
The Draconis Combine side of the border believes the same thing, but in the opposite direction. They believe that only by striking the Federated Suns first could we take them down. That said, throughout both nations, if you don't live along the border, everybody's like, Draconis Combine, we haven't been at war with them for like a decade. You know, like there's that thing in 3039, they called it a war. It didn't last very long, and no one really cares. If you ignore that, we haven't been at war in like 30, 40 years. War is over. War is so last year. Behind it all, Comstar is making huge moves. So I'm going to send that on Discord now. Part of it.
I have another really, really important question, AP.
Yes.
Now that we are 5 years in the future,
Closer to
can I
6.
get a king crab? Is it available now?
I'm a simple man.
Is it available now?
I feel like Lachlan has a king crab.
Yay!
Yeah.
Lachlan has a king crab, and if you're really nice to Dad, he might loan you.
He might loan you the king crab.
I feel like the
want
king
it.
crab's on the table. Okay.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
Morgan Griffiths obviously lows that Lachlan has become their father. I feel like she is still on planet working as a mercenary, but more as like an entertainer. You know, like she's working the mech derby. That said, I feel like if you wanted to, she could most commonly favor Celeste.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I honestly was thinking like most likely she would just like, especially once the war kicked off, she would just probably take any excuse she could to get off planet.
Sure, we'll see.
I mean, for the same reason she left the first time, right? It was like, it's just all gross and disgusting to her how her family behaves. But it would make sense because she was the Lachlan's bastard half sister, and Celeste was born a bastard. So it would make sense that she would have, more better feelings towards her than some of the others.
So out of the three of you, Celeste gets one advantage, in that she gets to start with the Star League era Lancelot, which we already knew she had. It was given to House Reincolt very early on. I've thrown a lot of things at you. Before we talk about who's going to play who, let's talk about if everything I just said jives with you, if there's anything you'd like to change, if there's any issues that you would like to put forward. And then the next thing we're going to talk about before characters is what system we're going to play in.
I've been talking a lot, so I'll leave it to the others after this. But from what I remember, when Lachlan left and like when we left the planet, there was some hoity-toity Fed Sons guy who was like in charge of the Draconis March and was like trying to like cement his power.
Yep.
Is he still around? Whatever happened with him?
That specific guy, I think he might be dead now, and his son, James Sandoval, is running the entire Draconis March. I feel like it's solidly implied that Lachlan has gained a lot of power and influence with him and has basically aligned himself with like the vigilance and retribution against the Draconis Combine factions, which is what House Sandoval stands for, is like eternal vigilance.
And I think that makes sense because it's like the more like the Fed Sons is actively like in contest with the Draconis Combine, the more Whittington matters. Like if they're not at war with the Draconis Combine, like the little border planet is pretty much irrelevant, right?
Yes, to some extent. I think that at this point, Lachlan McDougall has moved to a higher form of politics than the show is going to follow. Yeah. He's playing on an interplanetary scale at like he's Game of Thronesing right now.
Yeah.
He's in his full Tywin Lannister mode, just sitting at Casterly Rock, like doing this.
You're giving him way too much power. He's nowhere. Tywin Lannister was, for all intents and purposes, the actual king.
That's true.
Yeah. He's actually Victor Davian, or against his dad, right? Adrian.
Good stuff.
What is his name? Adrian Davian. Andrew.
Victor
Sergei?
Steiner Davian. Victor Ian Steiner Davian.
That's the son.
Yeah, his son. Dad's Hans Davian.
Hans. Yeah, Hans. There you
Hans
go. Yeah, he's Hans' dad.
And it is good to be the king.
Yeah.
So like the clan stuff is happening. It's just like so far away that it doesn't matter, basically.
The entire Draconis Combine is between you and the clan Warfront. And also the clan Warfront is a wedge pointed at Earth. And you are about as far away from Earth as you can get. So, like, even if everyone moved in a straight line, they would still en passant pass you, right?
Yeah.
There is no chance that clan invasion will ever show up on Whittington. That said, clanners do wander the inner sphere in clan Omnimechs, just like dueling people, showing up as mercenaries, showing up as Solaris gladiators.
Oh boy.
Some of them are seeking spiritual guidance. There's a clan that's just like narcotic, drug-taking, adventure-seeking treasure hunters. The Goliath Scorpions.
Oh, I was gonna say, are they Mandrill?
I kind of love the idea.
One of the crazy ones.
I kind of love the idea that it would become like sort of a political game for nobles to try to like lure these people in because their mechs are so good. Is like
we don't know. Yeah, like we don't know who they are until 3050.
3052-ish. It's gonna be a long time before the reveal.
Comstar knows who they are.
But I'm just imagining like if like there's just like a wandering druggie with like the most powerful military platform I've ever seen. Like I'm just gonna be like, hey, I can make you drugs. Come to my planet.
No, it won't. It's not that simple. They talk completely different. You know, they're saying stuff like Zelbringen and AF, and like they're saying all these weird things, and you're like, there's a very, very different. You're like, they will, you, and just the way they look, like, you know, they all look like they're straight out of like Commando, you know, like any single person is just like, you know,
they're all
roided
genetically
up.
engineered super soldiers. Yes.
Like incredible chins, you know, like
should also be noticed that they have a thorough eugenics program and believe themselves to be superior to free-born inner spheres.
Yeah,
they also don't have a economy ostensibly. Their warrior culture either just takes what they want from the lower castes, or if it's something another clan has, they challenge them for it in a trial of possession. They could literally challenge someone for a trial of possession over a sandwich, conceivably. Just like, hey, you guys make a good Monte Cristo. Give it to me, or I'll kill you. And you go, no, you'll have to kill me for it. And then they get in their Battlemechs and they fight. Whoever wins gets a Monte Cristo.
You went for
that's one expensive sandwich.
Yeah. The metaphor could have been fine with a ham sandwich, but you went a Monte Cristo because you're just that extra and I love you.
It's because you need 5 continents worth of materials to make a Monte Cristo. You basically have to use almost the entirety of the known world to get the ingredients for it. It's a highly technically
you on faith on that.
Yeah. Same with root beer.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, root beer requires like herbs and spices from literally like every fucking continent.
Yep.
Wow. What are they growing on Antarctica?
Yeah.
Not Antarctica, Eric.
Okay. I need some special rock.
I said like every continent.
Yeah. Okay. I'm being facetious, man. You're good. All right. That's funny.
Are there any political, social, cultural issues that any of you are interested out of the ones I've raised that you want to see at a forefront that your characters will make interested? Are there ones that I haven't listed that you do want to bring up?
So yeah, I'll speak my piece. I'm like super laid back and willing to do whatever, right? But that doesn't really help people decide things. So I would tell you the ideal trajectory arc I think that I would find interesting would be definitely that trio of power situations between McDougall, Lake, and
it's Reincolt, McDougall, Menshikov. Yes.
Sorry, Reincolt. You know, I think you understood what I meant. Right. But like that trio power struggle, but us playing again the sub families of McDougal, and our infighting accidentally triggers the downfall of McDougal is like kind of like what I would, you know what I mean? Like I would love that
We already had a character arc that was the fall of the House of Seppuku, so
Yeah.
I'd love to do that again.
well, houses rise and fall all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, that's my piece.
So I mean, I think the one thing that I am curious about, because we haven't talked about it yet, is kind of where the cons, where the cons are. And I know my thought with Anko was that she would end up potentially like going off with Paul to the other con establishments, and
I mean,
kind of disappearing for a
he
bit.
is a noble on a different planet.
Yeah.
The cons now have a extremely vested, lucrative, on a certain scale of wealth, a lucrative export of lumber industry here.
That's true.
They
That
control
I forgot
ports.
about.
They control people. They, everybody has to buy. Everyone that works there basically spends, like the warm season, like growing trees, chopping trees down, and then when it gets too cold or dangerous to do that,
People
they come
buy
back.
the
But
wood.
while they're there, they have to buy everything from the cons. The
company,
cons control
yeah.
the shipping over there. So, no matter how much money the cons pay them, it's just still mostly coming right back into their pocket. So the cons get generous with their payment, but then they're like, also a sandwich is $13 and eggs are $8 for 12.
Oh man.
Like an airport.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they
boy.
say, AP? They are lumberjacks, and it's okay. They work
could
all
be.
night and they sleep all day.
Okay, so with that, like, I think because what I was trying to figure out was
I like the idea of Paul and Anko taking their newly acquired jump ship
yeah,
and exploring, because
Yes.
that's what Paul likes to do.
that's what I was going to
Anko
suggest.
is in a lot of fucking trouble. I'm just going to
Yeah.
be honest with you. She's committed some crimes. She's been implicated in certain events.
Light treason.
Light treason, nuclear theft,
I may have
genocide,
committed
maybe.
some light treason, Michael.
Also piracy. You were accused credibly of piracy, and yes, you did manage to shuck out of that because Cain Damiel literally took the bullet for you.
yeah.
It
Oh my god.
I feel like Anko has gotten the idea that the better part of Valier is not being seen for a little while. So Anko
Yep.
and Paul have they disappear, they show up, they have this new treasure trove, or they have a completely disastrous trip where they show up and they have nothing to show for it. But you're making enough money off of your local investments on the planet he's from and from Whittington that when you come back, you can at least restock and head back out. So
That
Anko
also-
Khan and Paul Khan are a bit of like local legends. They're like back in the day when people were like, I'm gonna fly around the entire world. The spirit of St. Louis. I'm Amelia Earhart. Like that kind of thing. Like you don't hear from them in a while. Then they show up and you're like, oh, air show. Oh man, it's so cool. They just did some incredible shit. And then they leave and they're like, we're gonna forget about these people for a
Around the
little while.
world in 80 days.
Phineas, get in my bag.
And it's like
I-
it's always a big event whenever they come into town, for sure. Or
Yeah,
on
for
planet.
sure. I mean, who knows? They could have ancient relics of the past. At the very least, they're gonna have a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And,
also feel
and like
like
there's
that-
always like new like movies or like TV series locally that are getting produced because of like these stories that getting
Okay.
shared.
I also think that fits kind of well with like when we ended the last session,
Mhm.
like Anko had kind of a bad taste in her mouth with like
Yep.
her role in
Yep.
Whittington politics, for her to just kind of be like
I'm glad you're
kind
back.
of just disappear from it all
Yep.
is, I think, a very maybe not the most socially responsible decision for a noble who's involved to make, but certainly like an understandable decision for like a rich noble to just be like, well, I don't want to be part of this anymore. I'm not going to take any accountability. I'm just going to disappear.
Accountability? Nah, I don't know her.
Yeah. No, and I think part of it was I was trying to figure out, and this is one of the reasons why I was looking at playing one of Lachlan's kids, is because I want to say that Anko and Paul's kids are with them on the trip, and maybe on the recent trips they come back and they stay to kind of like take care of the family business a little bit more.
We'll see.
But that was my thinking, was that like they kind of went with them on this like disappearance and learned kind of the galaxy in a different perspective.
I'll keep the cons in my back pocket for what I need.
It's still pretty young.
Well, that's more fuel for you, AP, because like I'm like, this is kind of what I'm thinking. Like they did, you know.
Yeah,
And we're only jumping 6 years, so they're pretty young still.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. They're only like in their early to late teens or mid teens.
I'm gonna add Anko Khan and the fate of the cons to the list of issues that could come up.
Okay.
One thing I didn't say is that I want we when we're on planet, and we're gonna be on planet a lot more. Like I enjoyed our periphery arc. I never want to do it again. Never ever. I like it when we're on planet. I like it when we're doing Kerensky balls. One thing I'd like to start emphasizing is not just the ball, but before or after the ball, writing a letter to someone. Ooh. Whether it is an invitation, whether it is a romantic letter, whether it is a duel or a challenge or a threat.
Is it what's that game that I know Eric's played?
Good Society. It's the epistolatory phase.
Yeah. I want to do something like that. It'll just be a letter or two that you want to send to friends, lovers, rivals, potentials, just before or in the wake of the ball.
I like it. Okay.
Yeah.
Just to make it clear that the ball is pretty much the most significant event happening. That said, there will be small scale conflict on the planet between all of you. I don't know how hot you want this conflict to be. Whether you will be engaging in full mech company battles, whether you'll be sending assassins and saboteurs, whether you'll simply be inciting your peasant folk with rifles to, go to a PTA meeting in one of your cousin's territories and just mess things up and make a big noise.
Take over the local school board.
We've already seen Lachlan making laws specifically to block or counter Sebastian Bassett in the past. That's on the table for all of you as political power holders. Is making such laws.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to ask on like what percentage, like what would you say this past campaign's percentage was mech combat versus out of mech stuff, and what do you think this season is going to be proportionally?
This season we're going to be scaling down the mech battles. I'm going to say it now. I wanted to save it for a little bit later. I think that Alpha Strike is on the table.
Okay.
So
it does make me less interested in piloting a Locust.
So we're not only going to play Alpha Strike, but for the folks at home that don't know what Alpha Strike is, it's another way to play Battletech that is much, much faster. Eric and I did a 4-on-4 in about an hour and a half, which is normally the amount of time it takes us to set up a 4-on-4 and do the opening movement phases.
Yeah, seriously.
I'll be honest. I enjoyed doing like the one big battle and like getting to like hang out with Rad and with James and everything. But I just kind of hate doing all those mechs. It took so long.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like we can use Alpha Strike for very small conflicts that will only have so in this era of 3045, vehicles become much more common. Tanks and infantry are extremely common. The new ratio is 1 battle mech regiment to 3 tanks to 5 infantry and a full aerospace wing. It's called a regimental combat team. That becomes like the new unit of choice. If you're like, I gotta invade a planet, you get at least one of those and probably several more and some attached battle mech units, and you use that to invade a planet. So like that's becoming the standard across the inner sphere as the new defense unit. You guys don't have one on your planet for sure. That's way too many mechs. But you got to train those people somewhere. Obviously you're going to end up with tons of tanks, tons of infantry, and they get sent to small planets like Whittington as like, oh, we have too many tanks. Where can we send them? Whittington will get our overflow. They get our surplus. They get our garbage. They're the Washington state of where we're going to send our military to, because who's going to invade Washington state? Western Canada? Forget about it.
Yeah.
We have a major naval base in
That's
California.
what you're saying now, eh?
Okay. Alpha
my
Strike
God.
will be used to play out those smaller battles, and also I would like to switch it for the very large battles, specifically to get someone like Rad back. So we would only need 1 or 2 sessions with him. He initially had problems with Alpha Strike, but that was because your character, if you put your character in a mech in Alpha Strike, it's way more likely that they will absolutely die. Let me just be clear. Don't look at me like that. We did a 4-on-4, and like only 2 mechs withdrew, only 2 mechs survived, which means 4 mechs died. That's a 50% death ratio. That's massive. Imagine if you lost half of your characters in your house in one battle. You would be like, damn, that's a lot.
Well, you punch out. But also, yeah, I know what you mean. Unless you're in a spider, I guess.
Yeah. So I think we can get guesses on Alpha Strike is a little different than Battletech. It's pretty close. We'll start with the initial basic Alpha Strike rules before we move on to some of the more advanced stuff. There's another actual play group called Death from Above Wargaming, who have a very nuanced improvement to Alpha Strike. But I feel it's like learning calculus. If you don't learn the basics, jumping to that, you don't understand why those rules are different. You don't understand how it's different and why it's better the way they do it. So I'll teach you guys Alpha Strike at some point in the next few weeks. I assure you, you're already pretty good at Battletech. Alpha Strike will not be a huge leap for you.
No.
So very
pretty
small.
Good at Battletech seems like it might be an overestimate for my level of skill, but I do appreciate.
No, bro, it's listen. As someone who like basically is, I'm more like an Alpha Strike main now in my IRL days. It's pretty damn good. But like frankly, the biggest thing for me about it is just it's easier to do measurements and move. Like I feel like that was always the slowest time in Battletech, right, for the range bands. True. And in this one, it's a lot easier. I feel.
It works a little bit better with Tabletop Simulator, I think, as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. You can still play in hexes if you wanted to.
We won't, but we could.
There. Yeah.
We will still use the Total Warfare rules for when you are committing yourself or your house into a battle. Like if you are riding out in your personal battle mech, or if all 3 of you are answering to like a raid or a security issue, we will play regular Battletech with your characters. So that's not going away. I just want to make it clear we'll be switching between both systems if you all are in agreement with this.
Got it.
Good with me.
What's up?
Let me get you the rule book for Alpha Strike.
What's the like vehicle of choice for our men? What's like the Federated Suns? I'm thinking like it's probably
I would have
not...
to check master unit info, but probably it's like Hetzers and like Goblin tanks.
Yeah. What the hell's like? Isn't Goblin is like an SRM machine?
Yeah, but it carries infantry units as well, I believe.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
I'm gonna toss an idea out there. What if each of us had a specialty of like, one was tanks, one was mechs, and one was air?
Okay, but the person who gets the air power is basically the automatic winner of everything. I'm gonna be honest with you. They are not balanced at all. I think we've already seen that aerospace is very, very well, maybe not on this show, but let me just be really clear. Aerospace is incredibly, vastly superior powerful. It was not balanced to make for direct mech engagement. It's balanced against other aerospace fighters.
Oh, got it. Okay. Well, the reason why I was suggesting it was because it would be interesting, I think, to see the power dynamic there. But I mean, even with that imbalance, it'd be still interesting. But I guess...
certainly wouldn't want to shy any of you away from saying, "Hey, I want to be the aerospace house" or something like that.
I have no interest in fucking around with aerospace rules. It seems complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
I want to take it down to a smaller combined arms unit level where like you have 1 or 2 tanks and like some infantry squads and 1 battle mech. I feel like that's a pretty good sweet spot. Or like some industrial mechs, which we've seen a little bit of. We saw the Cattle Masters with their retractable blade swords engaging in combat.
Yeah, I was kind of I was having dreams of like Star Fox moments where I'm like coming in and doing like spirals and stuff. But I know that the rule set for aerospace is pretty gnarly. So,
You lamb.
Listen, we can do maybe like a one-off with you and Soundwave with that, because he does know the aerospace rules in a way that I don't, and he knows how to do all of those like split V, Immelman bullshit rules and all that crap. I would not be a good opponent. So the other thing I want to talk about is specifically with Alpha Strike on the table, that if you did something like, there will be other houses beyond the three of you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
The three of you might be fighting each other, but you also, like Scotland, will be united against exterior enemies of the greater houses of Lachlan, right?
Yes.
So, like, let's assume there's a greater house of Lachlan McDougal. The three of you are in it. All three of you are fighting for supremacy over that house. But Lachlan McDougal has enemies, and he's not going to care, you know, whether or not Celeste is against her father or not.
Yeah.
It's still his blood and kin. Kill her, and Lachlan will be hurt, deeply hurt by that. Like,
I love it.
if you're like, okay, there's someone else on the planet, I want to eliminate them, I'm going to launch a raid, I'm going to send my forces alone, I would offer the other two the opportunity to play the enemy instead of me. So that we can keep everyone involved. And that'll also let me play Fate Grand Order on my... Just kidding, I haven't played it in 2 years. But it would mean that you would get to see something beyond my own tactical manipulations and machinations. It gives you an opportunity to play with some very different units than what you would normally get. All right.
That sounds fun.
That's a lot of my bullshit out there. The next thing I want to talk about, I'm not inclined to move away from Destiny, if only because we've tied so closely the way we do end of year stuff to Mechwarrior Destiny. That said, I am open very vaguely to the other RPG we based our end of year stuff on. A Song of... No, well, I mean, we're already doing the Pendragon. I'm talking about a Song of Ice and Fire.
No, we're not. I don't have 13 personality traits.
We could make characters in a Song of Ice and Fire to represent your house and all of its characters. I'm not super into that. I know that Mechwarrior Destiny isn't the most appealing. I just have trouble finding an alternative. I don't know that we use the RPG rules a lot beyond dice rolls. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's like kind of the thing that I find like is like the biggest sign that maybe we should switch games though, right? Like the fact that like we basically don't use the game and none of us even like remember the rules after 3 years of play. I just feel like it's a huge indictment to like how well the game is fit to our play. I don't know. I'm fine with. Hold on. I'm fine with staying because I'm not really sure that a Song of Ice and Fire is going to help. If I was going to like throw out an option, I was thinking that like, and obviously this is not a great option because of what you described with the end of year stuff and like the interplay with the mech piloting. But beyond those, I think Stars Without Number basically does everything we've been doing better than Mechwarrior Destiny does, and like is like less intrusive if we just want to sort of discard rules a lot because it has that OSR style. But I'm totally okay with just being like, you know what, we've been this far with Destiny, it's not that big of a deal.
I mean, again, I didn't want to reveal it this early. Eric already joked about it earlier. There is someone out there who was writing a Burning Wheel Battletech hack.
Oh my god.
I have not been able to chase them down and get a copy of it, but it is based off of Burning Empires, which is like a sci-fi alien invasion of Earth version of Burning Wheel, which I do have. And I know that this guy over here, Sam, loves Burning Wheel because of its discussion system and its argument. It would greatly change the way we play, and it would be quite a shift for the audience. But I think that Burning Wheel lends itself well to just inventing new skills beyond the set. Like, we'd have to say basically that personal combat is totally off the table, right? Like, there would never be one of those fights where you're like trapped on the steps of the Senate and people are shooting at you, because Burning
Sure.
Wheel does not like. There's no way to be like, all right, this is a laser pistol. You get shot, you just fucking evaporate. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I honestly, it's always an easy sell to get me to play Burning Wheel AP. So I'm open to that for sure. I do think it would be fun. I think it would change things up.
I think it would allow you to make a lot of differences between your characters. Now, I don't know exactly how we would do character creation, right? I would have to make a life paths, but since all of you essentially have the exact same life path because you're not that old and you're all
roughly the
bastard
same
noble children, more or less,
it's pretty much born noble, one other life path, and then it'd be nice.
I feel like choosing your skills would be more important, like whether education or whether having a bunch of wises was important to you, or whether being a good mech pilot and repair. Eric, you're the guy that got me into Burning Wheels. So what do you got?
I mean that sounds more like Mouse Guard.
It does.
Where we're all kind of roughly the same, with some delineations. Sure. Like I don't know what it is like. Is our nature our human versus our mech warrior like in this? As the mouse versus the human part. Like I don't know.
That does get me to the Star Fox moments that I was looking for, AP. If we all go anthropomorphic and just become
absolutely.
I kind of go either way on this. Like, I think that what you're describing would be fun, but I think, frankly, like, there's a lot more work for you to do as the GM if we do that. So I can totally understand just being like, you know what, AP's vote counts double here because
but I can tell that you guys are dissatisfied with MechWarrior Destiny. No one is leaping out of their chair to run after it, and Sam is outrightly against it. So I would rather make an attack to clutch together something Burning Wheel than watch you guys with malaise approach the system again. That you're not
I don't know. Look, all right. My piece about that, where I see how the systems work for us right now. We don't honestly. Adding more complexity into a system here is really, I don't think, what we need when we're out of mechs. Like literally, it's something just simple as a die roll. We just need a way to resolve die rolls in a way that's like, hey, we're a little bit better at certain areas of expertise, and that's kind of like literally the only things we need in this game. So like anything that can do that, aka like literally any game ever, is like pretty much fine for me, right? Like that, I feel like that's the only interesting stuff for out of mech things, right?
So I think that's kind of where I've been hitting against the wall with MechWarrior Destiny, is that it focuses a lot on the combat and not on like the actual other things that go on in the world. So like you kind of feel the disconnect from the world in a lot of ways. So the skills are very focused on, well, at least the ones that you get encouraged to invest in, right? And so I think that's kind of where the life paths of Burning Wheel seem interesting, because like you kind of have this initial investment of understanding how your character developed, and it's kind of diverse. I haven't played a lot of Stars Without Numbers, but it has intrigued me to. I think I played Swords Without Masters, and that was pretty interesting.
I think you mean Worlds Without Number.
Yeah, I believe Swords Without Masters.
Swords Without Masters is
totally different game.
Completely. That's Epi's game about sword and sorcery. That's way different, and that includes vibes. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the closest thing I think I've played to. I mean, it's different systems, I guess, but yeah. So I mean, I'm open to either. I think my main gripe with MechWarrior Destiny was just that like we didn't have good ways of resolving things for the stuff that wasn't combat. It always felt like it was kind of like shoehorning the things that we were doing.
Let me offer this then. This wouldn't be the first or second time I've written a new Powered by the Apocalypse system for Battletech. I could certainly do that here to offer you all stats and moves for a light system to deal with out of combat stuff. Interested in something like that. But the question is, what are you interested in seeing dice rolls for? Because I'll say as a GM, what I feel like we should be looking at is things like I don't know if like something like looking up history is important as a role when you now we have like computer capability to just do that, or you could literally you're at a point where you can just order a functionary to do that. But how much do we want your ability to communicate with others rely on a dice roll, right? How important is persuasion versus your actual rhetorical argument?
Right. Well, hang on, AP. So like, here's the question, right? Because I think you're right that the idea of asking us on a task-based resolution system to be like maybe a little goofy. What the fuck happened?
You raise
your hand.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm disabling this. Well, that's scary as shit.
You bumped yourself way out of order here, I think.
And lower hand. Hang on, lower hand. How do I recognize hand gestures? Disable forever. Thank you. Sorry about that. I had no idea that Zoom could do this. Anyways, I think I corrected it. The point that I was coming up with though is like when you just ask the question of like, how important is research and whatever, right? And it's like, yeah, like maybe like, did I research the thing is not the question that we're asking, but it's like, do I research the thing in time? Right. Mm-hmm. And like, that's the question. Right. And so like, you still need an action resolution system to determine that stuff. But like, the question is, do I do it without being found out? Do I do it without like, in time to get the answer? So I have more choices, and like framing things that way is probably a system that does that, which PBTA does really well. Right.
I think that's a pretty solid compromise for me. That's totally fine for me.
Yeah, I'm a fan of PBT.
Yeah, and I like mixed success, but like you can put mixed success in stars without number. You can put mixed success like anywhere, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I also want. Honestly, man, like I want a system where like if we're pinned down, like getting shot at, like I want to feel like I can die without having to spend an edge point. It's like, nah, I fucking die. Like that's what do you think's going to happen when you're in the middle of a firefight in an ambush and you're stuck behind a car and all you have is like a ray gun? Like you're kind of smoked. I want that stuff. I don't want to feel like I can just like edge my way out of something and reroll 9 times. That was honestly, that was my big problem with Destiny is I felt like I had a lot of resources whenever there was failure, but I just never felt like failure.
Well, I certainly feel like probably not revised, but Stars Without Numbers first edition could somewhat be made, even with like equipment and technology levels, to come over to this.
There's a life path system in the OG Stars Without Number.
The only like I think really tough thing to square is like how you do the end of year in mech stuff. But like frankly, if like we're just doing this for ourselves, we're not like trying to create a game to publish. Like I'm fine with it being kind of arbitrary. Like that's okay with me.
None of you brought it up, but I think Starforged would kind of slap.
I was gonna bring that up but I wasn't sure because I haven't played it yet. So
I played it at Bob's.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Well, we should probably. I would love to facilitate that for y'all sometimes.
Hold on, Sam, you said something, but I didn't catch it when Eric said Starforged.
I said I've never played that game.
Okay, so you don't know either.
No.
Okay.
I played Ironsworn, which has similar mechanics, if I remember correctly.
It's literally the same game, just with a different coat of paint.
In space.
I've played Ironsworn.
Are you behind Ironsworn?
I didn't know that it was the same. What?
Are you?
It's a pretty cool system.
Did you enjoy it, Sam?
Yeah, I didn't play it for very long, but I thought it was pretty neat. It felt pretty. It didn't feel totally dissimilar from like Powered by the Apocalypse style, but it's like got a little bit more meat on its bones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then let's table the system discussion for now, because I would want to read Starforged, and then Eric can run Starforged for all of us. For some reason, I thought that Ironsworn was a solo game, but
no,
it has one.
Solo. Yeah,
but it's not. Yeah, it's not the only one.
You can play it. You can play it solo. You can play it GM-less, or you can play it with the GM. So it's it's one of those very flexible systems.
So let's say the next time we meet, Eric can offer us a Starforged introductory for the only new player to it. But and we'll take a look at it. So we don't know what system we'll be doing this in yet, but there will be a system that we do it in. I feel like Stars Without Numbers is probably the most viable alternative we have right now. It's simply very easy. I mean, maybe I'll have to relook at the way we do stewardship at the end of the year, but that's not super huge because probably I might need to look at it anyway, just because your stewardship will be how well you run your estate versus how much Daddy Lachlan lets it rain on you. You know what I mean?
And
Well,
there might be something you can steal with like some of the faction rule stuff.
Yes,
We'll
I was
see.
literally going to say that. It's like, what if we just made our houses as factions, and so that the end of the year stuff is just like our faction turn where we
Is this
generate
from
the income.
Starforged?
No, this is from Stars Without Number.
Yes,
Like
that's
we use this-
possible.
But
Yeah,
I think doesn't Starforge or Ironthorn have similar like faction sort of system? Or am I misremembering? Okay.
No, they're
We'll
very
see.
different.
We'll see.
Okay.
We could do Silent Legions where we're cults fighting over power. No, I'm just kidding.
No, we're
Nothing
not.
related.
Have you
Oh my
actually
God.
played Silent Legions? You were there when
yeah,
I
I
made
played
my
a game of
prep
it.
for the Silent Legions campaign set in Philadelphia.
Oh,
that I still
yeah,
haven't
nice.
run. Still
Yeah.
fully prepped, ready to go any moment.
Yeah, I ran a game of I played in a game of Silent Legions that was like Gothic, it's like Southern Gothic stuff, which is really cool. It was even before like True Detective came out. And then I played, and I was using Silent Legion a lot when I was running Miseries and Misfortunes.
Arcusa.
Yeah, Gesundheit.
Let's get past system. I'll
Yeah.
read Starforge. Eric will run Starforge next time we meet. Probably by now, all of the real Battletech purists have gotten super angry about
Yeah,
this
they're gone.
discussion. I don't know that they were ever here to begin with.
True.
But the Pendragon purists maybe are a little upset with us now. Although I do have a full Pendragon show. I gotta say, I feel like people don't follow this specifically for the Pendragon rules. They follow it because they like seeing the generational stuff.
Yeah,
And this
yeah.
is about to be a purely generational show about insular power.
So I was
So
about to say is AP. I feel like anyone who's like really in it for our like loyalty to BattleTech as a system has to have
Probably
been
has left at
gone
this point,
a long
yeah.
Yeah, they picked out a while
Yeah,
ago.
they
We
phased
give
out.
so much shit to Mechwarrior and Battletech
Yeah.
systems. Oh man.
who is going to play Angus McDougall and who's going to play Athena Menshikov?
Ooh. Okay.
So just to give us a reminder, Athena Menshikov, last time we saw her, was Daddy's #1 girl. She's a psychopath. She fully approves of genocide, of attaining nuclear arms. She was like 10 or something, but you know, she just wanted Dad's attention and was also very good at organizing, very good with people. Last time we saw Angus McDougall, he was a little smaller than his sister. I think he is the older twin, but she's basically taken primacy over him, despite the fact he's a McDougall. He holds the McDougall house in name because Lachlan is, you know, in exile to some extent. The Duchess is basically tired of his shit. So Lachlan is pulling strings behind everybody's back, and Angus is technically the Lord with very little power beyond what he can get for himself, which is whoever plays Angus will be clawing their way back into power. Angus is a sensitive young man. He was like 9 or 10 years old last time we saw him, so again, he could fully change. I'm just giving you the reminder. Sensitive young man who cares about emotions and art and friendship and doing the right thing in a way that his sister Athena does not. So out of that, we've got, you know, Eddie, we've got Eric. Do either of those characters appeal one of them more to you than the other?
I mean, Athena would be a stretch for me as a player, just because I struggle with that mental state. But
It's just,
But she could
again,
have changed, right?
it has
that's
been
true.
5 to 6 years. They're going through their teenage. They're slightly past. I don't know how long does
honestly,
a rebellious phase
I feel
last?
like Athena. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the for at least from my understanding with all my friends with you know, baby girls growing up and everything like that. It happens pretty young for women, and then later maybe for men. But that's what I was just thinking about. Like as soon as we said like her personality could change, because how old is she when we first last saw her?
Okay, so they were 11. They were 9, and they're now both 15. And
Okay.
Celeste was 11, and she's now 17.
Yeah, I mean, just to give you an example, my niece went from like, you know, loving, nerding, gaming bookworm to a like she's gone full goth, guys. I don't know how this happened, but like she's gone from like 10 years old, she was not goth, and to 11, she's now goth. So
That's how it happens.
So I just want to be really clear. No one is set to playing a character a specific way. I've just laid out what their past history is.
Yeah.
No, totally.
Do either of these players, either of these characters or houses appealed more to someone?
I mean, I'm leaning more towards Athena and thinking about it, but I'm honestly open to either because I think it's going to be interesting either way.
EricVulgaris, where do you stand on this?
I could play either.
Well, it sounds like you might be Angus McDougal.
Yep.
And let's not forget, he's a little young to be a player character, but there is a fourth McDougal child. Who presumably will be.
I don't have them in the wiki. I feel like that must have been.
Menelaus is the kid who was born when Xenia passed. Menelaus Menshikov, I believe. Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't write it down.
It's not in the family tree, by the way.
Oh yeah, because I haven't updated that in a long time. I have it written somewhere on the sheet.
You have a family echo? Oh shit. Oh, this is a whole thing.
Oh.
Yeah, I made that a long time ago too.
So everyone also has...
Menelaus Menshikov was born in 3030 when Xenia died in childbirth.
So he would be 15 as well. That feels weird.
No,
he'd be 14. He'd be 14.
So Xenia, the twins were born in 2028, I believe.
Okay. Then my numbers here may be off.
Or maybe 2020. I have Xenia pregnant with twins at the start of the year 3027. So they would be born late 3027, early 3028.
So they would be 18 now.
And I believe
I must have just lost count somewhere, which I did suspect I had done.
Celeste is 20 for sure, because Celeste was born the first year we played.
She'd be 2 years older. Okay.
So I guess Menelaus is actually not far from playable age if he's 15, 16.
Well, if one of you dies, Menelaus gets on the field. So, sorry, how old is he now? 16?
He was born 3030. We are going to 3045, correct? So he'd be 15 years old.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I think when we started time skipping, I lost track and I just like, hey guys, I've lost track of this.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter until that. Like the difference between a 9 and a 10-year-old is like,
we will have to do a new editable wiki probably of characters because several of these characters will not be reappearing.
Sure.
Fair enough.
It should not surprise anyone that Badger is now a extremely prominent member of society.
Hell yeah, he is.
Right. Is he repping Hiroka though, or is he on his own way?
He is the public facing Hirokan. I mean, he's a knight of Hiroka. His loyalty belongs to them.
Oh boy, I'm a knight now, guys. I'm in charge of things now, guys. I hope I don't mess up.
I feel like he's
a man now, though. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, he wasn't like that after our last time skip. I'm just making fun.
No, I know.
Yeah, I know. It was a very Rick voice. Yeah.
Whatever system we end up in, we will need to talk about family members battling, right? You guys will all have some small amount of forces available to you, like a primary battle mech for each of you. I actually was hoping Sam would give me a list of what mechs Lachlan had, so that I could figure out how he distributed them to all of you. Because, of course, he's going to hold many of them back for himself, but each of you should have a nightly battle mech.
I've been looking that stuff up this whole time. That's all that I've been doing. I got ideas.
What?
I want to do I want a Locust 1M.
On my list of things that I have.
Why do you want a small, weak mech?
because I want you to try to kill me.
Okay. That's the second time you said that so far. So I definitely believe that you want that to happen.
Why? Because if I win with it, it feels incredible. Are you kidding me? If I survive a single match in a Locust 1M that has 1 armor on everything with 2 I don't know. It feels kind of fun.
AP, the only
I'll play a commando, I guess.
The only thing on my House McDougal sheet that is not
claimed
that I would have that is not like on here is Xenia's Phoenix Hawk. So
right.
we have the Black Knight, Morgan's Hunchback, the Swayback, an Imp, and a Warhammer. And then we have a Behemoth tank, an LRM character, and a Shrek PPC.
All right. Sorry. I barely even got started on that. Black Knight.
Black Knight?
It's all in the wiki. Or not the wiki,
the only thing that isn't on the spreadsheet is Xenia's Phoenix Hawk.
The Oath of Endosteel player resources?
Yes.
Yeah.
House McDougal. Yes, I see it now. Okay. Hunchback. 5 mechs. Listen, Eric, if you're really desperate to have Dad start you with a
And there's also the Lancelot. There's also the Lancelot too.
So Celeste starts with the Lancelot.
Got it.
For sure.
All right. I would love to actually do. All right. I will say that I would love to run a light mech as my primary mech. Okay.
Okay.
Following of which, though, if we want to try hard and be sweaty, I will absolutely rock a Hunchback 4P. Give me the disco.
The disco is the lightest mech that Lachlan owns because Lachlan is a whore for heavy mechs the same way.
Yeah.
Sam is a whore for heavy mechs.
Yeah, like a disco back. I adore the disco back, but I will also be happy to pilot the mech that Jasper probably should have been piloting, and that was the Enforcer. The bog standard best of the best in class Davian mech for sure.
Did Angus beg his dad for an Enforcer on his 18th birthday?
I feel like you just get an Enforcer for free.
Lachlan does have 15 XP just sitting around.
Okay, but that was 6 years ago, and he's gotten much richer since then.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, that's fair.
Like, basically, I want to play something that's very, like, I would love to play something very bog standard. Like that, like, this is like a, it's not necessarily playing a Salt of the Earth character, but like a mech that's very much like, we're in the Federated Commonwealth, or, like a Federated Commonwealth.
And it would be very Lachlan to substitute genuine love and affection for buying his children things.
Yeah.
So that sounds about right.
It's true. That does sound accurate.
I would be willing to offer you a prototype of the Enforcer 5D. That's the one that has the LB10 and the ER large laser. But give it some sort of negative quirk. Or if you want, you can just get the regular Enforcer, AC10, large, small lasers.
I think I want that one. I think. All right, my other, like the light mech I was thinking was a Javelin, but yeah, I don't think Angus would be rocking a Javelin. So yeah.
Look, you can get those mechs and then field them out to loyal knights that you acquire.
Okay, that's a good point.
And swap into them when you need them.
Yeah, good point.
If you want to carry out a cover of night light raid, bringing an Enforcer is going to be really obvious. Bringing a very fast and stealthy Locust or Javelin is going to be way more appropriate. Something with jump jets, something very fast.
Yeah.
You're talking. I mean, an Enforcer isn't slow, and it has jump jets.
It's a standard 4.6. It's
a 4.64.
That's not great.
Well, I mean, it's got an AC-10 and a large laser. What is it doing getting close to you?
You can be outrun by an ATV, which means
that's probably not.
Breaking contact with a police force investigating an incident is not.
All right, when you put it that way, okay, fine. All right, cool. Then maybe I don't know. Can I do a Whitworth?
64 kilometers an hour is not fast. Let's just be really clear.
All right. When you put it that way, yeah, okay.
So I know I started out playing this game in a Raven, if I remember correctly.
Yes, and it should be noted in 3045, the new Super Raven gets released because the Capellan Confederation, through the Kuro documents and the the Rosetta Stone thing from the Grey Death Legion, have recovered enough technology to get the regular super ECM system. And so like the really good Line Raven is being made. And listen, honestly, it's a really good mech. It's really good.
To one up my twin brother, I have to get something that's better than him.
Oh my God. What are you, my sister? Jesus Christ.
Look, it's the twin rivalry, you know. We have this twin speak.
It sounds like he's
sort of
starting with an enforcer. So I've got, I don't know, a Hunchback 4P to offer you if you want that.
You could take the Warhammer. That thing hits like a truck.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, you've enticed me now with that Raven, though. I'm I don't know if that's a possibility.
First off, you live in the wrong country to get a Raven at this point. It's going to be like 7 years before they become market stable.
Warhammers are so good.
We got the Raven for like some special like infiltration thing, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm down to take the Warhammer for now. I think that's fine.
That's probably your best option unless you want to take the Black Knight, because there's no way Lachlan would give you his imp.
Yeah. I wasn't even looking at the imp because I was like, that's clearly what Lachlan's using. So.
Okay, I think the Lancelot that Celeste have is the LNC2501SL Star League model, which is ER large lasers, double heat sinks, ferrofibrous armor. It's basically just like a really sustainable long range attack mech.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that energy mechs are really popular on Whittington because Jasper intentionally pissed off the head of that ammunition conglomerate. So they've rerouted shipments around Whittington. So all of the militia mechs and equipment are all like laser only because no one can get ammunition here.
That is
that's actually
so funny.
That sounds a lot. Yeah, that sounds like.
So wait, just to clarify, I don't remember what the Warhammer has. Does it have a lot of ammunition,
yes.
or is it okay?
Yes,
it's not like ammunition is impossible to get, right? But most people have switched away from it. Yeah. I mean, you're a noble.
Yeah, we're not.
Getting things with money is not a real big deal.
Warhammer Warhammer's got everything you want.
Okay,
it's mostly known. It's got dual PPZs, but it's got some SRM6s, some medium lasers, machine gun. You're doing okay.
I mean, the Warhammer has a huge weapons mix that does pretty well at medium range.
Exactly.
But isn't slacking anywhere, and can also engage infantry with machine guns, which is a pretty real threat in this time period.
It's a really solid all-rounder mech, honestly.
Which one is
hot take? It's better. It's way better than the fucking Marauder. Standard box. Marauder 3R, man. I sleep. I'm forever unimpressed by it.
All right, I'm just saying right now, the real Battletech fans who hadn't left yet are now,
they left now
deeply upset. Yeah.
Look, it's not what it's cracked up to be.
Look, this is like, we've narrowed it down, little by little as we've progressed in the show, where we're just pissing the Mechwarrior fans slowly but surely, that's how it goes.
Look,
we kind of had those segments that maybe we'll reinvigorate with.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we've
I want someone
to
tell me why it's good.
Well,
you sit at 10 heat the whole game. It's terrible.
I was going to say, this is like AP and Eric going
listen,
on there.
I'm not fighting on behalf of a Marauder, okay? I'm a Mad Cat fan. I like the Marauder when you put giant boxy missile launchers on top of it and advance it in technology by 250 years.
Oh my god,
I buy that. The later models of Marauder slap. I'm just calling the 3025 version. It's just not.
I'm not going to battle you on that. I will leave that to the audience.
Yeah, good. Tell me why I'm wrong.
There was a guy.
Yell at Eric in the comments. Eric in the comments.
There was a guy on Discord whose name was like, I love Marauder 3. And would suggest that people switch to the Marauder 3R on like a time of total war. Just to be clear, there's someone that was their entire personality outwardly facing towards me. All right. So
I have one hater.
That person still watches, but if they do, I'll let them fight you. I'm not going to do their battle for you.
Good. I have exactly one hater.
Oh
Nice.
man.
Well, cool.
So let's review just real quick so I get everybody's sign off on it. At a strategic level, there is a question of how the war that hasn't started yet but will, how much you'll commit to those forces, or how much you keep on Whittington, and how much you might get yourself involved in a shadow war against Draconis Combine. On a planetary level, you are seeking personal power for your house. You're seeking personal power for the greater sphere of the houses of Lachlan McDougal. You're also personally battling with the two other players for Daddy's Love, Mechs, Nukes, and Space Station. Because in the end, the nukes are great, the mechs are great, the space station is the real thing. Whoever gets that seeded to them in the will, that is the person who has won at life, as my sister would say. There are more houses. I haven't talked about them yet, mostly because I haven't invented them yet. But the Duchess is filling out with more noble houses. Most of them are going to be at the Lord or Baronial level. But of course, we have the elusive, absent Yohei Genji as a sort of guru / military advisor. And we have the extremely powerful but insular Hiroka's Yusuf Hiroka and Tamari Hiroka. Make no mistake, he's the military commander, but she's the real power behind the throne, despite him being a massive simp. They control almost all of the farming on planet and thus have a pretty good hook into the local economy, because if they decide to flood the market with wheat, prices fall, and if they withdraw that largesse, prices for everything rise as a result. Some other issues that are on the table: the Duchess finally rising to power. Pangolins, will they be protected? Now the over-farming of trees may be threatening them. Again, on Whittington, pangolins are like a dominant pests animal. They are everywhere. They control all of the forests, but there are some people worried now that there is accelerated tree farming that the pangolins may have some problems. In real life, protecting pangolins is a very serious issue. In the Battletech future, pangolins, very safe. Don't worry about them. They're good guys. The logging camp. And, of course, the fate of all of the cons. The logging camp. How legal is it? What sort of protections are the workers getting there? Because unionization in the Federated Suns is illegal. Any attempts to form a union will be put down with military force.
Wow.
Yeah.
We already saw that because Badger was protecting people who were protesting against the fact that there couldn't be unions last season. The new mercenary district. Getting mercenaries on your side will be expensive, but mercenaries will give any of you an advantage at anything you're trying to do, whether it's a one-up on other houses, a one-up on your siblings, or sending them away on a war. Lachlan McDougal is trying to take over Jacobson Unlimited. Your aid in helping Dearest Daddy-O get in on that will probably go a long way towards putting you over the top as his new number one. How much does a battle for the culture of the planet matter to you, your character, and your house? The traditional values are being rewritten. Traditional values is a word that no longer means anything on Whittington because everyone believes they have traditional values. It's a culture war, and whoever wins it is going to be pretty powerful. Peace, vigilance, retribution against the Combine. Which is more important to you? Start thinking about those things. Start thinking about potential characters that you might have. I'm probably going to allot you guys several slots for like a knight, like a teacher or advisor, and then like a special flex spot for just if you want to say you have any kind of character. Like, remember Rich Rico, investment advisor? Remember that guy? Leonora Hedberg, the repair tech. You will have people who support your house. So think about who you want supporting your character to help define who your character and your house is.
Cool.
You know, if you use your special flex spot to get a mercenary or like, you know, someone military minded, that really tells me that you're about to go swinging. You're about to go to war. If you get a crime boss on your side, that lets, you know, everybody here know that you're looking for a war in the streets, a shadow war, maybe a war for the public. It should also be noted, because I haven't said it yet, you'll remember that there was a group named Talent 7, which were 7 young women of various agents. They have now been replaced by a group of 5 young men who are essentially XPs of Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, because we have moved into the 90s now. So talented young male singer / dancers are the new big wave on Whittington as well. And
Boys to Men.
Sitcoms are more important than gripping political dramas like Pride and Royals. So whatever the Battletech version of Friends is, I will be inventing it.
I feel like this would be the time that like the Lost in Space version of the Khan family going on these grand adventures. That's the sitcom that comes out.
That feels a little bit too real though, because the Khans are real people that really have been lost in space before. You know what I mean? That's
the sell, AP. That's the sell. That's how you pitch it.
I guess. I feel like you're gonna get
It's
to a real
authentic and it's
legal
real.
quagmire there.
Well, no more. It's like something that the Khans have manifested, or like something has come out.
They're
of
the
like,
ones making the show.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That makes more sense. I was gonna say you're probably gonna get sued for using a real figure whose historical death is not 75 years past.
That's how they maintain their like their mystique, I guess.
They sold the rights to their lives to the Lyran Commonwealth.
Yeah, exactly.
God damn.
It's become like every now and then there'll be like videos of their actual footage of them doing stuff. No, I'm just kidding. It's not actual like a real reality show or anything. But that'd be funny. That's did that happen in the 90s? Like the reality show boom?
Yes.
More early 2000s.
Late
Yeah, that's what I was
90s,
thinking.
you
I was
started
thinking it was late
getting
90s too.
Because Survivor is the first one that really blows up, and the first season of Survivor aired late 99.
Ah, yes.
You're gonna get
Not quite there yet.
what's the Road Rules and
Amazing Race.
No, the ones from MTV and VH1.
Oh yeah, like the Real World.
Yeah, Real World and Road Rules. Yeah.
Real World starts I think 2001 or maybe 2000, right around there.
So we're not there yet. We're not quite there. We're in the 90s.
So
floppy disks are the current big media.
Seinfeld. It's Seinfeld era.
Please,
you know?
no.
Yeah,
please.
yeah.
Can we say Frasier instead?
What's the deal with Mechwarriors?
Frasier. Can't we at least go with Frasier?
No, I like Seinfeld better.
Oh.
But why? It's a show about nothing.
It's a show about nothing.
You're just saying what I said, but dramatically.
You got to sell bringing, Jerry. You got to sell bringing. I don't know. Now I'm in a trial of possession, Jerry. I don't know.
Oh my god.
What's great is that Sam and Eddie have no idea what you're saying, and I do, and it's so
Oh,
painful.
it's a clan joke. I got it.
It is a clan joke, but you don't understand why it's a joke.
Fair enough.
People at home are dying internally with me right now.
Yeah.
That would be a Seinfeld skit, and he would be killed by a clan mech warrior for making that joke.
I was backing up my car, Jerry, and I ran into a shadow cat, and it fell over, and I have a bondsman, Jerry. I have a bondsman.
Planners, Jerry.
He's like,
Oh my god.
Listen, your car better be fucking massive to knock over a shadow cat. That's all I'm saying.
I know it's the.
Your car better be a garbage truck or larger.
It's like a brown 1970s sedan.
Precariously parked shadow cat.
Yeah,
1970s sedan.
It's an incredibly
that's what they
well
drive,
balanced 45-ton mech on reverse cants.
Yeah, but AP, you can't think about the engineering about it.
I am
It's a
an
bit, man.
engineer.
I know. So am I.
I can't think about it's the first thing I'm thinking about. Those chicken legs. Can't you see? They're so well balanced. They distribute the weight so evenly. Yes,
my
because
goodness.
of course, walking tanks is definitely the future of warfare, and we've all seen it.
Oh man.
yeah.
Have
We
you
all,
seen a
They're
Star
gonna be
Wars?
closer to spiders, you know? There actually is like a spider tank that's already being developed in some way in like Japan, I think.
Oh, they fucking invented Ghosts in the Shell. What's wrong with them?
I know. I know.
Like, why are you making the Takayama Yuchi or whatever it's called? The Takayuchi. Why are you doing this? Right? That's what it's called, right? The Takayuchi.
I don't know.
No, I think
not a
spider
real
tank,
Ghost in
right?
the Shell
yeah, I
fan.
think I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
That's the only thing you need to know. Yeah.
But it can go invisible. It has its own personality. It's adorable and terrifying at the same time.
Nice. Just like you, AP.
I'm adorable and terrifying
At the same time.
I had heard that I was something else. I was a complex and excitable storyteller that some have described as mysterious and eloquent. That is a direct quote.
I love it. Nice.
It's a good one.
And
Have it
you
framed.
put that on your cover
Frame
sleeve.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, right?
It's going on my curriculum vitae cover
exactly.
page. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's the only thing that's going to be on there. I mean, that quote really just sells me. Wow,
Yeah.
I threw a lot at you. And we're done a little early, but I feel really drained because I've spent weeks planning for this specifically and months before the season ended planning for the next season based on how things were going. I was like, these guys, all of their decisions since they've gotten the periphery are terrible. There's absolutely no way they're going to be able to play any of these characters when they come home.
Oh, man. Somehow we pulled through. Somehow.
I mean, you came home, but, you know,
Yes.
now you're all
that was the first
untouchable.
step.
Yeah. Politically, you're radioactive, just like that giant pile of loose nuclear weapons you brought home.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, we have a lot to think about. Eric, I guess you have a Starforged game to plan?
Yep.
I've got a
Easy.
Starforged rulebook to read. Unless anyone has anything else, I'm going to call it early because I got 2 more things to do today. It's a long day of shows.
Wish you the best.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Will it be Stars Without Numbers? Will it be Starforged? Will it be
Mechwarrior Destiny was something else.
Mechwarrior Destiny? Will it be Burning Wheel? Will it be me custom writing my 4th Powered by the Apocalypse Battletech hack? We don't know. We'll find out next time. Probably 2 next times from now. Are we good for next week? Let me just settle.
Yeah.
Let's before we go.
Didn't you say that
You have my
weren't
bow,
good?
man.
Aren't you the one who said you weren't good for next week?
I'm not sure anymore because the reason I wasn't good is because I had to take my mom somewhere, and that has been disrupted. The cruise that she was going to go on, they said we've oversold, so we're going to offer people half refund. We'll give you the same cruise in November, and like 1,000 people responded. So now there isn't enough people for this cruise, so it had to be totally canceled, and enough people got on the next one. Like the company lost so much money overselling this cruise. It was brutal.
That's a goof. Yeah, I have to use the restroom though, so unless there's anything else, I'm
not good
here.
on the 5th. Yes. So
That's
let's
literally
plan
last week.
for the 12th, Starforged with EricVulgaris.
All right.
Got it.
Go use the restroom. We're on our way out the door, everybody. Let's wave at people like we sometimes do. I don't normally wave, but I'll wave this time. Eric, you're not waving. All right, now we're out.